Hey everybody, it's Tom. We are doing here at FANzine Live the classic zines. And this is one from, I want to say 1988 or so, 1986, my bad. This was one of the earlier books that I received when I got into the small press scene. And it really was one that blew me away. I had seen many zines that, like the previously discussed Insect Man's Weird Tales, they were basically superhero comics made by fans. Whereas this one, and they also were done using a lot of the visual tropes of the superhero comic, the big action scene on the front cover, and the just all the stuff that you see in a Spider-Man or a Captain America or a Superman. Um, Pantheon is an entirely different type of book, and it was put out from a gentleman who lived out in Seattle. He's since passed away, named Wade Busby. Wade was a member of the United Fanzine organization, like I am now and was back in the day. Um, but he did some really interesting stuff. I mean, starting looking just at the cover, that is an unusual but really attractive cover. Um, Different types of lettering, different types of use of graphic elements. You could tell that this guy had something different going on, and it ends up Wade was a graphic designer, and clearly was a talented one, and used the FANzine Small Press Comics page as a place to test out ideas, and so you'll see some of that in there. I'm also going to point out, however, that back in 1993, a gentleman named Scott McCloud wrote perhaps the seminal book about comics and how one can interpret and read comics, in a book called Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art. And he goes through things about the images that are created, how to present, talks about color, he talks about panel design, talks about the use of different types of letters and the like. It's a fascinating book. I truly recommend this to anyone, because he really makes you think about how comics are done, and he does it in a very fun, entertaining, but good Lord, is it brilliant type of way, all the way down to the level of the line. What is a line? Just amazing. So I really encourage everybody to read this. But I tell you that because that was back in 1996, I believe I said. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, 93. In 1986, 7 years earlier, somebody else in his own way was doing an investigation of the tropes of comics, and it was Wade Busby, and he did it in Pantheon #1. So you can see Wade Busby. Please don't use that address. He's no longer with us. Bit of a self photo there. Who is Pantheon? Where do they come from? Are they just a rock band? The real world in which they live thinks they know the answer to the last one. They know it wrong. And it starts going on. They start introducing a couple of the characters. The driver is Professor S.J. Luminous. It is, of course, a stage name. The one with the hair, Chris Featherstone, he calls himself the Shrieker. So I love this. He has such fun with words. The two in the off-road vehicle are not outsiders. In fact, they're the absolute most inside of anyone in Jet City, except for now, since they're outside driving toward it. I love it. So, give me the wheel. He puts in a fight scene. Now, I'm going to just talk right now. Notice that the line work, you may have some pen work being done, but my guess is a lot of this was done with heavy pencils. So it looks a little bit rough, a little bit scratchy, but I think it works for this. And I love how they have a bit of a fight over the wheel. They run into a utility pole. He says, "We're unhurt." And the guy says, "I doubt we die on page 4. So you can see that he's having fun playing with some of the ideas of comics. You can see Ernie, the bass player, his bass is being stolen. Now Ernie's being stolen. And to keep the story fast-paced, Shrieker and Luminous arrive in Jet City. And so they talk about that, meeting their manager. And then you can talk about the drummer. And they say, I heard Ernie's gone missing on the news. What's our plan of action? Well, we can't tell you. Not here anyway. We've run out of room on this page. And then the drummer, who clearly is not in on the thing, says, you guys keep going weird on me. So you can see also here, he says, well, we're on our way. We're in a completely different train of thought. I feel we can fill pages with it without making any real dent in the story. As long as we keep moving, perhaps no one will notice these panels. So, I mean, he's just having all sorts of fun writing this thing. But basically, it's a quest for Ernie and his bass, and it's just lots of fun. Wade puts in a little bit of some fun liner notes, and he says, by now you've read this. You should have read their little book instead of skipping ahead to this little text page in the hopes of gaining insight into their background. Go read the book. If you have, read it again. Most of the stuff on this page isn't true anyway. UFO checklist. So don't worry, just nicked my arm. So they had a bit of a fight. Don't worry, he's got the gun. They're only tranquilizer darts. The police and medical people are on the way. That was a very cinematic sequence, gentlemen. They say, oh, we owe it to our director. So playing with the idea, of course, that comics and film can be interchanged a lot. I'm glad that scene is over with. Me too. So, hey, the establishing shot didn't switch to the interior to reveal who's speaking. I realize that. Moving closer now. That's it. Now we can see pretty soon. There, I bet no one expected a talking CD hand puppet or a video cassette hand puppet in VHS format. So they're telling, nope, they were all over here. Come this way. So then they discover that there's another man, not sure where he's from. Let's get him. The guy goes, oh no, not a chase scene. And then it ends up that it's Wade himself in the comic, and he's cornered. And they're asking, did you kidnap Ernie? No, that was someone who looked like me. I merely set fire to his dwelling. Kind of expected an answer like that. Wait, I have it. Did you set fire to Ernie's dwelling? I think you know the answer. And I have good reasons, too. Reason number one, a tape that could possibly be a bomb. He wants to blow us up. What will then take place on the next 2.5 pages? So he's having some fun with that. All I want to say right now is there should be another fight scene. With all this stalling, we'll never get to reason number two. Reason number two is a simple restatement of reason one, and it's, forget it. We're not getting anywhere. Just be easier to follow me. So then they go down to the basement, and you can see that Wade's there. Why are you here? Because I'm in the band. You know that to be the truth. What about Ernie? He was only a cardboard cutout. And again, another neat graphical element. This is a fun book. I really, really wish that there was a place where people could get some of these old zines and read them for themselves. Wade was an incredibly creative man. You can see his art was fun. His style was totally unique. And it's just a pleasure to see this stuff. And I love having a venue like this that forces me to run back into the files and pull out some of these old classic scenes. So I hope you enjoyed, everybody. Lift a glass for Wade Busby. The guy did great. And I will catch you next time in the next videos.